Yeah. Go ahead. Come on, West. Go ahead. Go ahead. This shit. Yeah. Go ahead. Look, I keep it low to the T. UPK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet. Got soldiers on deck, and my youngin' did a sweep. This a whole nother way. Tell him get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Nigga, come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Go ahead. This shit is too easy. I'm on go, but they don't believe me. You know I'm winning with the team. Screaming Vinny, 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 VJ. Hear them devils screaming out bloody murder. I'm about to close the curtain. Mama grind, bitch, and work. Sorry, all them lies, it ain't working. Them niggas weak, cause they be church. I'm a West nigga, that's for certain. If he cross the line, I'ma back up and I'ma hit his ass with his virus. And I come through 300 strong, 144 Leonidas. All my niggas we eat. I'm in this bitch with the itis. Say all y'all do the sweet. Tell y'all to do the street. If a nigga made the wrong move, he make his ass obsolete. He ain't one of us, hit the lead. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas go retreat. Go ahead. Look, I keep it low to the T. UPK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet. Got soldiers on deck, and my youngin' did a sweep. This a whole nother wave. Tell him get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Nigga, come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat.
You see this look that's on my face, bitch, I'm for real with it. I hit the streets, put on my cleats, was in the field with it. You soft as cotton, just an actor, Uncle Phil with it. And then my target's on the move, bitch, I can still hit it. Hey, I speak true cause it's necessary. Gullah Jack revolutionary. Cold on them like January. Commander General is a visionary. Soul food, no sweets. Your preacher man, he's sweet. Matter of fact, he weak. It's wartime for peace. Think you hard, nigga, you ain't. Fuck with us, nigga, you can't. You smart cars, we tanks. We form up in ranks. We body bag this rap shit. All black, no bright shit. Real life, no cap, bitch. Fall on them, that's cap shit.
I keep it low to the T. UPK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet. Got soldiers on deck, and my youngin' did a sweep. This a whole nother wave. Tell him get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Nigga, come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Go ahead. This is the true story.
True story. It was not funny.
I don't think we'll be doing a lot of arguing.
Any man give his life for your house child. First breath I took, a life too surreal. Second breath I took was the pivot and strike, finish the kill. Influenced by might, with every sentence reveal. I won't pay back, fuck a dollar bill. Remain calm as the pressure build. Gotta endure until I let this pump whistle at my foes in memory of Emmett Till. I only live to do my master's will. It's UPK, motherfucker. Ain't no cowards on this battlefield. Gone astray but made greater. In my return, left to my mistakes. Every error was a lesson learned. Now I don't move, let's it get approved. Won't take a step till it get confirmed. Arm the tape, what was made for our sakes. March like a tank, One step will make the ground shake. My people sick in they head, Lord, let this truth spread like an outbreak and bring hell at them crackers can't escape. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I want payback for the scars in the slave memoirs. Till Christ arrive, I can't let it slide. Ignore the lies, the only free will that's before your eyes. It's life or death, nigga, you decide. This heaven was made for me and my fellow. I patiently wait with my eyes on the sparrow, and I pull a trigger while my lips kiss the barrel. Before I ever let a white bitch do me like Othello. I want out this wicked life like Romello. By any means, this devil pulling strings like Geppetto. Lay hold on this brotherhood, I swear I never let go. And fuck that silver spoon, got too much love for the ghetto. Till the score settle, if need be, I die for the cause. Just to hear them angels applaud. And I'm true by every word I say, cause I know my victory on the way. You want it? Nigga, walk this way. This life may be hard, but I can't give up. I'm about to go hard and I won't give up. And could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? Cause it's real, I be walking with them angels, boy, I can't be touched. This life may be hard, but I can't give up. I'm about to go hard and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? Cause it's real, I be walking with them angels, boy, I can't be touched. Came through in the clutch, they hate but they can't doubt us. We princes of the power, what you know about us? Evil all around us, but a nigga straight, I told you I can't be touched. Holy angels walk at my pace, and I'm grateful for the words that had me delivered. I'm hungry for the glory, but I ain't eating till I feed my next. One West, what I die for. Attire out the book of numbers, this rifle from the Archangel Michael. My niggas rebels, you can't deny them. It's 144, I be running to and fro with the Allah higher. My UPK soldiers ain't no folding or pretending. We in it for them crowns, fuck friends, we want dominion. In the election ascension, I hope I make it through. Give a damn what a bitch think, as long as my niggas know I'm true. Betrayed your kind to get success, we make it through the eye of the needle, nigga. I be this life may be hard, but I can't give up. I'm about to go hard and I won't give up. And could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? Cause it's real, I be walking with them angels, boy, I can't be touched. This life may be hard, but I can't give up. I'm about to go hard and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? Cause it's real, I be walking with them angels, boy, I can't be touched.
It's rolling on it. What is it?
Purchase your tracks today.
Know the people been waiting for a minute for something authentic. Came in the truth and bossed in it, made niggas regroup. Had to shed light on the false image, UPK whole court. Now who the fuck won scrimmage? 2 words for soft niggas. What is good riddance? Don't affiliate with feminine symptoms. I know you feel me, nigga. This a death threat to hip hop. You don't stop that weak shit, I'ma mix your lean with some Grimlock. When the last time you heard it this raw? What I wish for's when the earth inherited by the piss poor. We been to war, them the ones I'm taking risks for. Ain't got no picks or no cars to hold. Holy angels watch my steps, them Glock guard my soul. Can't let them leave my body cold. I know you feel me, nigga, let the wicked weep and the meek prevail. God never been 50-50, I shall now awake and sleep a cell. Let the righteous cry, silence the pretender, a rebel without a cause. As long as I remember, not taking the kingdom, the only.
Shalom, Israel. How the picture look? What? Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Hashem Yashai Barakatham. Yahweh Shemala Thun Bashem Yashai. Isupk, Uncommander in Hana, 1969, Harlem, New York, 125th Street. You already know what it is. Wednesday night law class. And here we're also Kwame Power. About to get it in. Break down some scriptures. Talk about this devil being the oppressor, or this oppressor being the devil, either way you want to look at it. Talk about what's true according to the Bible. If you're not familiar with Hebrew Israelites, we teach you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, your identity and who your God is and how you must serve your God. All right. So, we got anybody watching online?
No, sir.
All right. If there's any questions, let's get the questions first. Of course, there's not scripture breakdown, but I will do my best to answer whatever questions you put in the chat. Let me know. Anything?
No, sir.
All right. So, if there's no questions, right? If there's no questions, let's get into the article that I sent you on.
No.
All right. One of the things that is like it's not new, right? One of the things that's happening, I like to say more and more, but it's been happening since we came out of slavery. But we think it's better to get something as not of our own race. And really, to fully understand this and comprehend this, you got to understand what race of people you are. Black is not a race.
Right.
Black is simply a color. Hispanic or Latin is not a race. Those are really bywords. But your identity is what matters. Your bloodline is what matters. If you are so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native American, you descend from the Israelites. I'm not talking about Spaniards. Spaniards are not Israelites. Spaniards are a nation of Esau, right? The oppressor. If you are African, you are not an Israelite. If you're African, that's what you are. You're African. And because you call yourself Black, that doesn't mean that you're African. If you call yourself Black, which usually Africans don't, but some, I guess, may call themselves Black, but you descend from African people, then that's what you are. You're African. So I say all that to say this. Black people, Hispanics, and Native Americans have an identity. It's not a color. It's not a land mass. It's who they are as a people.
Right.
And we descend from the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel.
Right.
Right. So once you fully know your identity, right, and what race you are, now you can start putting some things into perspective about what you can and what you can't do. Right. So today we're going to be going over, right, just a little bit of information about interracial marriage and how disgusting and vile it is and how the Lord looks at it and the condition that kind of led us up to it. And the things that we should be aware of when we're looking at these, heathen women, particularly the oppressor's daughter.
Right.
So we're going to get into it. Before we get that article, let's get one scripture. Let's get Tobit 4 and 12.
No, sir.
Tobit chapter 4, verse 12. And then we're going to get a little bit into the article. We'll get a few more precepts that you can have anytime you're breaking it down for someone. Because the whole point of us knowing all these scriptures in the Bible is to make sure that the Israelites understand it and so they can live by it, which is the whole goal. It's cool because, it's cool that you know that you're an Israelite, but what are you going to do now to live by it? It's like fake Israelites. Their favorite thing is say, yeah, I'm in the truth. Well, no, you're not. You're not in the truth because you don't live by the words of the truth. I see cats online, Kwame, teaching the Bible with a gold tee and a hat on.
Right.
This cat has followers. I mean, people are listening to him.
Right.
He's at a table at a desk just like this or a table or whatever. He got the Bible open. He's breaking down scriptures. He got on a cap like I got on, like my baseball cap that I be wearing.
Right.
He got on a baseball cap and a gold tee. And it ain't just like the one that kind of grows and that's it. Like you can tell he shaved the side of his face. Like, I'm come to you. Like, this cat just by observation is not in the truth.
Right.
Just by me observing him. Just like we in the Isupk, we can look at you and tell if you're in the truth. Because Israelites have a certain look.
Right.
The man is very easy. Does he have a beard? If he can grow a beard. Is his beard tapered, lined up? Not necessarily tapered, because that could be a different thing, but is his beard edged up or lined up? Is his head bald if he's not balding? Right? When he's praying, is he wearing a damn shawl over his head like a Jewish man?
Right.
You're not in the truth if you do those things. And if you don't understand why, we can break down the scriptures. All you got to do is ask it. We know you're on there watching. We know you're online watching. You're still in breakdowns and don't want to come in. Some cat called me. And he was asking me how to break down stuff. And before I knew it, I had given him all my like say cash not your pearls before swine. I had given him all the answers that he was looking for. I'm thinking, I'm geek. I'm just like, yeah, man, this is another soldier. He geek. He took that information and went and he was like, yeah, me and a few brothers get together. I'm like, I felt like a jackass. I done gave him all the goods. I mean, they gonna get it anyway. All they gonna do is watch online, watch Jim Muhammad breakdown, right? But he's going to take that information and he's going to study with his own little congregation.
Right.
You're a coward, man. If you watching ISUPK classes and you're not at least considering coming in here, like you on the fence, like some people be on the fence and then they're like, yeah, I'm getting, even though that's the wrong thing to do, you should just hop in here. If you a dirty, filthy sinner, just hop in here. That's the best thing you can do. But other cats, maybe they on the fence. Maybe they doing some more research. But then it's those cats, they never plan on coming in here. You're just still in breakdowns. You're disgusting.
Right.
You're disgusting, and you go against the scriptures, really, because it's supposed to be one body of Christ. Go ahead, Kwame. You was gonna say something.
So like I seen a fake Israelite as a slave. We talking right, and he was talking about how he watched all of Captain Tazariak and how he's the king at the debating, but they never want to get in. But they watching all the classes.
Yeah. Now you know what? Like that's those cats. They want the glory and the honor without putting in the brick first. It's easy. You look at Captain Tazariak and how great he is, and how eloquent he speaks and the patience he shows when battling and all the knowledge that he has about the Bible. And you look at them and you're like, man, everybody's so. And look, I thank the Lord for Cross the Line because people called us, call my zone, after watching Cross the Line, and that's great and wonderful. Here's the thing: if you watching and that's all you about is getting the glory and the honor without doing the work, you're not gonna get to it. Guess what Captain Zarek was before he became the captain? He was a trooper, then an officer, then he became a captain. He put in his brick and his time and his work. Anybody you see in Commander Junior Hunter was a trooper in this school. So if you think that you're just gonna watch videos and then one day step into the role of a general, you're sadly mistaken.
Right.
And you're a coward, man. You're a coward. You should just come in, put in your brick like the rest of us. It ain't too late. Christ ain't back yet. Christ ain't back. You should come and put in your brick. That's what you should do. And move up. If you're so great, you will move up. Brother's going to recognize the gifts and the talents that you have. And you will move up. And you will get men under you. And you will have rank and authority. But before you do that, you got to prove yourself. You got to prove that you can fully grow in a beard if it's possible and not trim it up. You got to prove that when you're prophesying, you leave your head open.
Right.
Your crown, the crown of your head is not covered. You got to prove that you can say Yahweh's name and not Yeshua, and not Yahweh or whatever they saying the Lord's name is. Like there's things you got to clean up that's not biblical, of course, because there's no E's in ancient Hebrew. Right. So if you want to speak Yiddish, you can. Having said all that, we got rules to live by. Interracial marriage is forbidden. If you're so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American, you can only sleep with or have sex with or marry another so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American. That's the law. We're going to get some scriptures proving that. We're going to get some other resources about, Eurocentric beauty. And we got a book we're going to likely get into. All right, so let's get Tobit 4:12.
Come. Tobit, chapter 4, verse 12. Beware of all whoredom. My son,
beware of all whoredom. Like whoredom is not just you like a woman on the streets and selling her body.
Right.
Like the Lord said in the scriptures that we played the harlot, talking about Israel, talking about his people. Like, did all his people go out on the streets and have sex with, somebody they're not married to? No, that's not what it's saying. He's saying as a woman would go whore herself on her husband, that's how we did against the Most High by serving other gods. So in the scriptures it says, beware of all whoredom, meaning this, remain faithful to what you're supposed to remain faithful to. The Lord said, he's a jealous God. You can't have any other gods before him. You can't serve any other gods. So guess what? You should remain faithful in that.
Right.
Read.
Go. And chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy father.
And do what?
Chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy father.
You should chiefly only take a wife of the seed of your fathers. What's the seed? A man's sperm. That's what seed is. So guess what? If she comes from Jacob, if she's the seed of Jacob through direct lineage, then she's good to go. Who does that generally apply to? I say generally because there's some people who claim to be black, but they're not black. There's some people who claim to be Mexican, but they're not. They're Spaniards. The same thing, there's some people, they claim to be Cuban, but they're not. They're, some Spaniard or Italian or something.
Right.
The point is this. You got to come in here and learn what it takes to discern who's Israel, who's not. Usually you can just ask, you can just ask because the scriptures say this. As a matter of fact, hold that. Or was that the end of that?
Live, sir.
Go ahead.
Select. You want numbers, right?
Yeah, numbers.
Yeah. And take not a strange woman to wife.
A strange woman is a woman that is a woman who is not from your nation. She's a strange woman. She's a woman who you don't know. She's not of your father's seed. Go ahead.
Which is not of thy father's tribe.
Oh, wait. I didn't even know that was next, but it's not of your father's tribe. She's not your family. That's why when Adam took bone from his bone and flesh of his flesh, family of his family, right? That's what the Most High wanted him to do. He wanted to establish something with a woman, right? And then all his kids would establish that same, from basically the sons of Adam or the Lord's chosen people at that time, right? The Lord doesn't want all the races to be mingled together like that. He wants Israelites to be Israelites, and whatever the other nations do, that's what they do, right? Moab, the Chinese man, he has a woman for him. That's his woman. That's who she should marry. She should marry a Chinese man. Same thing for an Edomite. Edomites or your oppressor, they should marry one another. East Indians, Elam, they should marry one another. So on and so forth. You Israelites, you are only allowed to marry so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Any more? Go ahead.
For we are the children of the prophets.
We're the children of the prophets. We're the children. We descend from the brothers that you read about in the scriptures. Moses, Ezekiel, Elijah, Elisha, Amos, Zechariah, Malachi. All those, that's who we descend from. All those brothers. Any more? Go ahead.
No, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they are all married.
They are all what?
Even that they all marry wives
mm-hmm.
of their own kindred.
That's what it says. They marry wives of their own kindred, meaning their own family. Does that mean go sleep with your sister? No, that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about of your own family, your extended family, right? The Bible outlines who you can marry, right? Any more?
and were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land.
And that's what's going to happen. Our seed, their seeds are going to inherit the earth, the whole entire earth, if we would but serve God. Go ahead.
That shit don't matter.
All right, now take me to Numbers 1 and 18. And this is how you know if you're an Israelite or not. So some people might think like, what's a good example? Jesse Smollett, right? Jesse Smollett, Jesse Smollett. You know what I'm talking about?
He said like Jewish or something like that.
Jesse Smollett. He's the one. He was in Empire, and he called and said that he was beat up by two people for racist. They was harassing him in Chicago and tried to assault him. Turns out he was lying. Right? People might look at him and be like, "Oh yeah, he's African American or black or Negro." He's not.
Damn.
His father is white.
Damn.
So he is not an Israelite. So he's not a black person. Now I was watching. I'm gonna come to you. I was watching sports one day, and this was during the time of the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. And there was some guy, I can't think of his name, but he was like, "Yeah, Colin is not black enough," or something like that. He said something to the effect that Colin wasn't fully black. Here's the thing: the Lord don't look in halves. There's no, is you an Israelite or you're not? Colin is definitely an Israelite.
Damn right.
He's definitely an Israelite, right? And his blackness. If you ever seen that show you recommended to me, I like that show, man. Colin in Color, man, that was good. I liked it a lot. But we're gonna read the scripture, then I'm gonna come to you. So don't forget about what you say. That's a sad deal. Don't call me old no more. That was 2 seconds and you forgot what you was about to say. Numbers 1 and 18. You need to have you some ginseng or something.
Oh God.
Damn, that's bad.
And it came back though that quick.
Okay, most of that.
Numbers chapter 1, verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigree.
They declared their pedigrees, right? You might be familiar with the term you ever heard, like a dog. A dog has a certain pedigree, as a certain lineage, basically what pedigree is, right? So this is Moses. He's sitting down in the congregation. And when you're looking at Israel, anytime you read the Bible, their lineage is determined by their father, right? You're not determined by your mother, you're determined by the seed of your father, which we already established earlier was sperm. Go ahead.
Come. After their families. By the house of their fathers.
By the house of their fathers, not their mothers. That's how you determine someone's lineage or a pedigree, by the house or the seed of their father. Go ahead.
According to the number of the names.
All right, so that's pretty much it. That establishes right there. And there's other scriptures that support that you're determined by who your father is, not by who your mother is. Because why? The father carries the seed. Go ahead. Oh no, that was it on that, right? Okay, so now that we you know who you are, right? I said earlier who the Israelites are. There's a ton of scriptures that back that up. Right, not only scriptures, but archaeology and history that back up who the real Israelites are, who the real Jews are, who's the real tribe of Simeon and Manasseh and Opressor, right? All these things we teach here in the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge. But not to get too much off track, you're Israelite, you're determined by the seed of your father. According to the scripture we just read in Tobit 4 and 12, that you're only supposed to chiefly take a woman from your own, a wife of your own people, of your own nation, of your own family. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, why do we love the oppressor's daughters so much? Oh, Salaki, you was going to say something.
Oh, Salaki, it was a really good comment.
Go ahead.
It's how they use other nations, like Kamala Harris and...
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen, that was sneaky out.
Yeah.
They got her up there, boy. Black women was in love. Kamala Harris.
Right.
She been quiet as a church mouse.
Right.
I thought Kamala Harris was gonna get in here and empower all you black women, and that neck was gonna snap even further. The neck was gonna be like, snap. She ain't even black.
Right.
She ain't even black. She East Indian. She went to Howard University, gassed y'all up. Oh man, that whole thing was probably planned. Why would any, especially East Indians, they don't even like black people. Why would she even, that probably was planned. Howard University, she probably could have did much better than Howard. Not to put Howard down, but there's a lot more prestigious colleges and universities than Howard. Go ahead.
What can I do to get black votes?
Exactly. It's like she all probably knew that she was going into a political career. Here's the thing: black people number so small, but they tend to tip the scales, right? If we can get gassed up enough, just like Joe Biden, he gassed black people up enough. Well, you won't vote for me. You ain't black, baby. What's wrong? you know what I mean? Right. So you gas black people up enough, and you can tip the scales on a vote because the country right now is so divided. A lot of times you see, past couple runs, like it's been, presidents haven't been winning by a landslide. It's been very neck and neck because the country's so divided on so many issues. And so you put a Trojan horse in there. You got Kamala Harris, who looks black on the outside, right? Looks like a regular horse, but on the inside, it's just another devil. That's it. Go ahead.
Like if you destroy a nation, man, they'll follow anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. We don't know where to lead or follow.
Right.
So we'll follow anything they goddamn say.
Right.
Follow.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And that's be the whole point, is you gotta understand. That's why this scripture is a simple scripture, but when they determine the pedigree of people, they set them down by their families, by the house of their fathers.
Right.
Not by their skin color. Skin color ain't got nothing to do with it. You got Israelites that look like oppressors. They're very light skinned. Their hair may not be as woolly as the next black man, but guess what? Their father is an Israelite. So what does that make them? They're Israelites.
That's right.
There's no colorism allowed in the Bible. It's Israelites or not. And that's it. So we didn't establish who you should marry. Now, why do you fall in love with them so much? Let's get that article that I sent you.
Kettle come, sir.
You can just start from the top too.
I'm already having trouble with the
Eurocentric.
Kettle come, another one. Stop opposing Eurocentric beauty standards.
It says what?
Stop imposing Eurocentric beauty standards.
Right. So this article is about Eurocentric, meaning around Europe. Focused on Europe. When it says something is centric, like that's the core of it. Europe is the core. And so who mainly comes from that area, right? From that whole, when you think of Europe, do you think of black people? Not really. You don't really think of East Indian people or Arabs. You think about the people who mostly dwell there in Europe. And that's your oppressor, right? So it says these beauty standards are Eurocentric. Go ahead.
So now, Eurocentric beauty standards. Beauty standards that favor European features, such as a small nose and fair skin, over those of any other culture or
ethnicity.
Because of this, people who aren't white are usually considered less beautiful.
Right, because you've grown up your whole life, and people who are not white are usually considered less beautiful. Now, just think about this. There's no, there is science behind it, but I'm not pulling any, scientific facts or studies right now. But just think about, in your experience growing up, who did you mostly see on TV? Who's the hero in damn near everything you've watched? Who is teaching you math? Who is, who are you buying cars from or houses from? Or, who's pulling you over in the cop cars? Like damn near everything in life, right? Everything that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, it's your oppressor that's in charge and in the good roles and, making the decisions about the country, about your neighborhood, about the city, about, your education, about your health. Damn near everything is Eurocentric. And so over the course of time, you just develop a appreciation for those features. Why? Because everything about beauty, maybe it's Maybelline or the Cover Girls or Victoria's Secrets. It's all very Eurocentric, and so it's shoved down your throat day in and day out. And over the course of time, if you're not strong, if you haven't been taught, right? If you have been taught that I'm black but I'm comely, like Solomon said, then you'll lose focus on what is truly beautiful to you and start appreciating what the world says is beautiful. And that's common knowledge. There's a cajillion studies on it. General Hyman always bring this out, the baby doll test. You take a young kid and you say, which baby is bad? They got a white baby and a black baby. Which baby is bad? The kids inherently will point to the black one. Even at a very young age. Which one is pretty? They'll point to the white one. Which one is smart? They'll point to the white one. Go look at that study if you haven't seen it. Pull it up. It is not only disgusting, but it's crushing to watch. And so you have to teach your kids. It's very important for Israelites to teach their kids to not appreciate Eurocentric standards of beauty and really appreciate braids and twists and full lips, and maybe wider noses and wide hips and being curvaceous, right? Does that mean you just got to be, a straight up hood rat? No, it just means that you appreciate the features that the Lord has given the Israelites. Right. That's all it means. Let's keep going.
Come.
And stop me if we have any questions.
Come. Although non-women people of color are also targeted by the faction on European physical attributes.
Physical attributes.
Mm-hmm. Women of color are the primary victim.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot possibly be alone in admitting that several times I have wished I was white.
Now, listen, this is what the writer is saying. And this is true for many, not only black women, but black men as well. Like if you're young and you didn't grow up in a basically black neighborhood or maybe Hispanic neighborhood, like I went to junior high that was mostly oppressors. And man, you just see, just being, you in the world, you don't know, you young. Like you see these cats come to school every day with polo on. Like every day. Right. Like every day. Like you coming to age, you trying to get into fashion and style. And it's like, these cats, they wear a polo like every day. They, super well prepared and always, got, extra money in their pocket for lunch. You scraping together, little lunch money. It's just a clear difference, once if you've been around a bunch of oppressors. And it's just like, you see the differences, And so little black kids, they, in their weakness, make man, like this writer said. Read that part again.
I cannot possibly be alone in admitting that several times I have wished I was white.
Yo, that's real. That's real. Go ahead, Quan.
And that's why a lot of brothers join the football teams and stuff like that because, they have pizza parties and they go to the coach's house and stuff like that.
Pool parties. Like they got pools at their crib. You're like, man, I had to go to the community center to go to the pool.
Right. Drinking at a young age out of one, but their parents don't give a damn out of one.
No, it's definitely a different upbringing.
Right.
I remember being on, back when I was young, being over to Devil's house. And the dude, the boy, he held up a little Homer Simpson. And it looked like it was an oil stain on there. He's like, look, Dad, he came. I'm like, I would never say something like that to my dad. My dad looked at me like, what'd you say? Like that kind of, you couldn't just have those kind of like open conversations like that. It's just like a different upbringing. The point is this, maybe you haven't been one to wish that you were white, but there are black people because of their tradition, because of oppression, because you see, this other race of people shining, like they would say to themselves, man, life would be easier if I was white, And so again, that messes with your psyche, goes into your mental. It's like, over the course of time, I had one brother told me a story. It's like, him and his dad had left him and his brother and his mom a long time ago, and they was basically at a point where they was going homeless. And he was like, they, there wasn't a bunch of black people lined up to help me, right? Which it should have been. If they were in the ISUPK, they would have received that help. But his thoughts was that, I don't even know how the conversation came up, but he felt comfortable and really appreciated oppressors. And he so much so that he got him an oppressor wife. That was his experience. His father left him, who was black. He came up and was about to be homeless with his mom and his brother, and the oppressors lent him a hand and gave him a place to stay for a while. They got on their feet, and he had an appreciation for oppressors after that. Go ahead.
It's like I was in the same situation, coming up, on drugs, doing roofing, different states. When the roofers left me behind one time, and I didn't want to call my parents. I wanted to, make it out, stuck it out. I wanted to embrace it, and I was staying with some oppressors. But I always looked at it like Joseph staying with the goddamn Africans.
Never quite felt like home. Let's keep going.
Oh, God, sir. There would be many positive in all areas of life, from having beyond sufficient racial representation to receiving better treatment and more respect.
Yeah, so the writer of the article was saying it'd be beneficial to have more racial representation. Like imagine if we were in United Nations, or if we had, black people really represented in the Congress or the Senate, or black people was represented even at the city level. A lot of black people, even though we get representation of people in power and in charge, how many times have you seen a black police chief over a major city and you still get white cops shooting down black people like it's nothing? Just because one person has a seat of power doesn't mean that racism is going to stop. You cannot change the hearts of these devils. Like this race of people hates your guts. That's what you got to realize. And so that one person in a position of power is not going to fix that. Let's keep going.
However, there's one benefit of being white. That meant I learned to dislike the color of my skin at a very young age.
That's heartbreaking right there. When you learn to dislike the color of your own skin. Go ahead.
No older than 10, I believe. I will match the Eurocentric beauty standard. To be fair-skinned, tall, have light-colored eyes, a small nose, and blind or brunette hair, and would be a dream.
That would be a dream. And it's sad because when you look at this is not just like she said, I can't be the only one admitting to this, because you can go and look at that Dow study and you'll see that little black girls and even little black boys, they're like, the oppressor one, that's the good one, that's the smart one, that's the pretty one. This black one is bad and stupid and evil. That happens in the psyche of a lot of black kids, a lot of Hispanic kids, a lot of Native American kids. Read.
But a dream. That's all it was. As much as my younger self watched my classmates yawning to look like
them. Meaning she was, she yearned, she, desired to look like them.
That would never be me. Fortunately, as I grew older, I realized that the Eurocentric beauty standard don't show what's wrong with me and my appearance. No, instead they show the flaws of the society we live in.
So this sister's saying, as I got older, this Eurocentric beauty standard is not showing my flaws, it's showing the flaws of society. And that's really what it is, black man. Like, you are attracted to that oppressor because the flaws of society, because you don't know who you are, because you don't know what the Lord told you that you got to do. Even if you were attracted to a devil, that was a demon that you was fighting, you would know better. You would know that you'll anger the Lord if you sleep with one of those devils. Keep going.
Why should women of color be made to feel ugly?
Right.
We are just as beautiful as white women.
Right.
We may not share the same features, But that shouldn't be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Eurocentric beauty standard create numerous problems for us that shouldn't even exist.
It shouldn't even exist. There shouldn't be a black child on the planet, right? An Israelite child that believes that they're not pretty because of the standards that you see when you look on TV, because of the thin noses and the light colored blue eyes and the blonde hair. It shouldn't be a black girl that looks at that and say, "Oh, I'm ugly because this is the beauty standard." Instead, a sister with features that are more Israelite should look at themselves and say, "You know what? I'm gorgeous. I'm fine because I look like Israelite. This is what the Lord wanted me to look like." Go ahead.
Firstly, let analyze the impact that the impact that these standards have on young people.
Mm-hmm.
Children are being exposed to social media
Mm-hmm.
and the internet at increasingly early stages in their lives.
That is true because my son is, even if you look at gaming, Roblox, games that are for kids, Roblox and Minecraft, there's a social aspect of it. And so, it just, kids are being introduced to social media at a lot earlier stage. Of course, when I was growing up, they was just getting into the internet.
Right.
So, go ahead.
Unless more diversity is implemented into industries like acting and modeling, and there is more stress on the ideal that one ethnicity does not define beauty.
Right.
Eurocentric beauty standard will stay.
Right, unless there's more. Now, of course, the writers in the world are saying if you don't get more actors and models and things that look more like, women, they're usually using women of color as a general term. Of course, we don't care about, people of color. That's not, we don't care about Hamites. And I saw an East Indian like this week, like Monday or Tuesday. He was darker than me. So color has absolutely nothing to do with it. It's not, color is not the problem, right? It's Israelites. The bloodline is what matters. But of course, this writer is saying, unless kids see more, features that you would find on a black person, then we'll continue to have these Eurocentric beauty standards pushed, and it'll still create the problem. Go ahead.
If this happened, if this does happen, then generations after generation will grow up to hate themselves for not being white.
And guess what? You go your whole life with wanting to be, an oppressor or being very comfortable around oppressor standard. What you gonna get when you get older? What are you gonna get? You're gonna be looking all the time to get you an oppressor's daughter. And that's gonna be what you desire. Because it's been shoved down your throat. And everything black. Look, you think because you're black, like the life that we live here in America, we're so destroyed, it's like it would only be right to get an oppressor's daughter. Right. It would solve so many of my problems. She's gonna get a good job, right? She's gonna have some money. I like the features. She's very gorgeous. Right. You know what I mean? Her father's probably well connected. Now, sidebar, these brothers who just be getting down with these oppressors who look like little piglets just to get a PS5. I'll look at online and I'm looking at this cat like, what is it that you saw in her that you was like, she's the one? Like, some of these brothers, man, you need to get up off that PS5, man. Just give up gaming if you're going to get Miss Piggy. Just leave it alone. Right. It'd be crazy, some of these women that they be with. I'm like, you in a bad way. You in a bad way. You must need a place to live, money in your pocket. Yeah, get it how you live, I guess. Go ahead.
Cal, sorry. Imagine the tears of young girls as they look in the mirror, feeling insecure about themselves because they aren't white. Isn't it disgusting?
It is. Go ahead.
Racism has become so insidious that we're at this point where children are learning to consider their parents ugly.
Right. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help, Israel. We add, insult to injury, or, pour salt in the wound when someone's parents isn't as financially stable because one, you already think you're ugly because you got, wide lips and, thick lips and wide noses and, all these features, black features. Then, put on that or add to that being poor and in the ghetto. Like, you're going to want to kill yourself.
Right.
And black people, they, like I said, some of us will throw salt in the wound and just, blaze on you and put you down until, that's why, like, little kids, you see it, it's so sad, man, when you look on social media and some little 8-year-old or 10-year-old and kill themselves, man, just the amount of pressure that's being put on blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in this empire is disgusting. Right? And this does nothing but add to that problem.
Right.
Go ahead.
Sure. And it's like, Eurocentrics.
Where you at?
Eurocentric beauty standard have also led to colorism.
Colorism, which is a major problem amongst Israel, among you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You basically taking on what the oppressors do. The oppressors, like especially like in the East Indians, they do that. The Arabs, they do that. It's like if you're super dark and like there's something bad about it. Like that's colorism. Israel, we gotta come out of that. It doesn't matter what shade of color you are, as long as you're Israel, that is what's important. As long as you're the seed of your father, like we read in Numbers 1:18. Go ahead.
The outrageous, pervasive discrimination of dark-skinned people of color, which particularly target women.
Right. So yes, that's this woman's experience, but that's not, it targets men too. Being darker skinned, like it's something that impacts men as well. Because when I was growing up, the brothers who got the attention was lighter skinned brothers, and they had a better grade of hair and so on and so forth. And it's like if you was dark skinned, kind of it impacts brothers as well. The problem is colorism impacts all of Israel. It's not one sex or one gender. It's all, we all have a problem with it. Go ahead.
Go. For anyone who is blind to this problem, just observe Hollywood. Light-skinned people of color are constantly favored, while dark-skinned people are overlooked. If this behavior continues, how are we going to eradicate Eurocentric beauty standards?
Right. So this article goes on, which is a good article. It's definitely a good article. I would recommend it to anybody who wants to kind of get, this is, I don't know who this author is, Emily Richard. She wrote this article, but the name of the article is Stop Imposing Eurocentric Beauty Standards. Us women of color are fine the way we are. So it's a real good article. But I read this article, I had Quan read this article just to kind of set the tone and get some background on brothers and understanding, what's really driving your desire to, love the oppressor's daughter and be with her and, take her as a wife over another black, Hispanic, and Native American. Here's the beautiful thing about Israel. This is what I appreciate. Like, say you're a brother and you're not into Judite women. Okay, it may not be your thing. You got, 11 other flavors to choose from.
Right.
You got, Benjamites. You got, Ephraimites, Manassites, Simeonites. You got, pick a tribe. You understand? Pick a tribe. But that's what you're limited to. You're limited to the 12 tribes. And so, you loving the oppressor's daughter it's been shoved down your throat. It's something that you've been conditioned to love. Because really, if you look at them, right, there are people that's on the top now, but that's not going to always be the way. And furthermore, the Lord told you, you're not to be with these women. Let's get another scripture. 1 Esdras 8 and 84. You got any questions?
Live, sir.
1 Esdras 8 and 84.
So you not at peace with them?
8 and 84? 1 Esdras 8 and 84? You thinking 8 and 85?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's right there though. It's right there.
But it's not 84.
Calvin, it's not. That's 84.
You talking about 85.
Calvin, sir. Yeah, I like that scripture right there.
Well, now you can read up one and then you can add this one.
Calvin, sir.
Go ahead.
1 Esdras chapter 8, verse 84. Therefore, now shall ye not join your daughters unto their sons.
This is what the scripture says. Like, I seen something on TV where a father, no, this was on Facebook. Some cat posted this. It's like my beautiful daughter and her husband. It was an oppressor. Like, man, that is like, you are, after all the oppression, after all the hate and the murder and the bloodshed and all the discrimination, like, you just gonna hand your daughter over to one of these oppressors. You are truly forgiven. Not only that, you are lost and you're going against the Lord.
Right.
Because the scriptures say, don't give your daughters to where? Keep going.
Calvin. Therefore, now shall ye not join your daughters unto their sons.
You're not supposed to give your daughters to their sons. The Lord said, don't do that. Go ahead.
Neither shall ye take their daughters unto your sons.
And when you have a son, you teach your son, don't take their daughters either. And we're not just talking about Edomites. I'm going to come to you. We're not talking about just Edomites. We're talking about, Arabs, East Indians, Africans, Moab, Chinese, Ammon, Japanese, none of them nations. Like, you're supposed to tell your son to go get a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American and have him spend time courting that sister, just to make sure that she is a sister. Not only that, to make sure that y'all compatible. Because sometimes, after a month of talking to somebody, you might be like, man, he not for me or she not for me. Like, you gotta ask for a birth certificate. You gotta meet the father if possible, meet the grandfather. You gotta do some research before somebody's like, oh yeah, I'm Black, like Jesse Smollett. He's not. You understand? Go ahead, you was gonna say something?
Slightly, sir. I will say, and that's a heavy scripture because that sister that came up missing, that was dating a oppressor. There's so many sisters that's coming up missing, dating these oppressors, man. And they was the same one that's saying that the oppressor treat me right. And then that one sister that got beat up by that football player. And then killed him.
Yo, that to me is like I'm not gonna say she shouldn't be. No sister should be beat. But like, he looked like a damn caveman. Like, what was the attraction? He was just to be rich. Was that the only attraction there? Like, you was a fool. You understand? Because he looked just like a caveman.
That's like we could. And they swept that under the rug. We never heard nothing else about that.
No. It's gone. It's a done deal. He beat the brakes off of her.
Right.
Like, I think she woke up it was like, oh, you're not, he said something to the effect like, oh, you're not dead? Like, that's why you're not supposed to give your daughters over to him. And then some simple Black women say, well, Black men do that same thing. Black men is going to jail.
Right.
When we get charged with crimes, we do time here. Right. Your oppressor gets away. Right. That's why anybody who brings that argument that says, well, Black people commit crimes too. Yeah, we go to jail for it. We go to prison to the tune of number one in America. Even though we're only, like 12% of the population. We're number one in prisons. We go to jail when we commit crimes.
Right.
Any more on that scripture?
Kettle come, sir. Oh, live, sir.
All right. Most High Christ. Drop that. Let me get, of course, Deuteronomy 7 and 3.
Kettle come.
This is the bedrock one, of course.
Yeah, I'm right, it is, sir. That's like it.
What?
I remember that time you brought it out in Ohio. And so you said brought this scripture out. That's when all the brothers started leaving.
Yeah. Listen, you can't talk about not taking an oppressor's daughter, and you can't talk about smoking weed. Somebody be sitting around listening to your whole camp speaking for 5-10 minutes. As soon as you say don't smoke weed, everybody go.
Right.
They love these oppressors' daughters, man. But it's like the article we read. You only love them because you've been taught to love them. Here's the thing, Isupk, we're gonna teach you how to love these sisters. These sisters are gorgeous. We're gonna teach you, we gonna condition your mind now. We're gonna show you how to love these so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American sisters because they are gorgeous. Go ahead.
And the thing is, like, you ain't gonna see it with the world eyes.
No.
You're gonna see it and with the UPK eyes because that's all they portray in movies.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington always saving a little white woman or white girl in the Equalizer. You know what I'm saying? In the Pressure too, the man too. We are always the superhero for these goddamn heathen nations. But you never see a movie of us saving blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You know what I'm saying? Like you will never see that.
It's something that's in movies, magazine, schools, hospitals, dentist office, wherever you go, you want to see the oppressor, and you're gonna like, unless you're in a bit like, I think probably the so-called Hispanic community does this better than the black community. Like they're more like when I go on certain sides of town, they tend to congregate together more and establish more businesses. And you can go to a black dentist. Like I ride that or Hispanic dentist. I go into these neighborhoods. I see dentists. I see lawyers. I see damn sure I see restaurants because I'm stopping at all of them. You know what I mean? They have more of a more centralized. They're a little bit more together. It's at least here. What I can see. Maybe that's not everywhere, but us, we don't have that same thing where we want to, like, we've been destroyed more. So in that sense, like, we don't trust each other and we don't want to, necessarily do business. I think that's getting better because now, they got these little things on the radio where it's like, yeah, frequent this black business, do this to this black business, I'll promote this black business. And it's getting better. But we're a long way from there, to where we need to be.
Right.
Go ahead.
It's a lot, man. And the reason we can't do that is because this goddamn, this music industry. You know what I'm saying? We always, that's what they promote. It's the radio. I blame the radio on the one.
It's a lot, it's a lot of things, It's a lot of things. So much so that even when we go out on the street and we say, yeah, we're going to get you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans together to love one another, and we'll read Zephaniah 2:1, gather together, O nation not desired. And the oppressor be like, all lives matter. We all should come together. Like, where's all this talk when we dying in the streets? Like, you need to go say that to the cops that's murdering us. All lives matter. Don't come to us saying that. We don't listen. In a sense, they preaching to the choir. We know that our lives matter. We just trying to make sure other black people know that our lives matter. So we don't have to live under this oppression. All right, let's, you got that? Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
Mm-hmm.
Thy daughters. Thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 4.
No, that's enough right there. That says it all. Right, that says it all right there. And it's important to understand that the scriptures outline who we're supposed to be with. And it clearly outlines that we're not supposed to be with heathen nations.
Right.
I'm going to have you read some of this highlighted stuff. Some of it I may have you start on it first and then skip it, but we'll go. So this book right here, they were her property, right? And I got this from the school. I forget, maybe it was General Hyman that brought it up or another brother in the school that brought it out. But get this book, right? Get this book. If you want to shake the demon of loving oppressors, women off of you, get this book. And it'll enrage you enough for you to understand, like, they have the same mentality now, right? You are a buck to them. You're a buck to them. You're somebody who yeah, they can claim that they love, but really you're something exotic. Just like there's something exotic to you.
Right,
You understand? You're not meant to be with that woman. And too much in America now, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are comfortable taking on the oppressor's daughter when we shouldn't be. Like back when I was growing up, you had, a little, oppressor's daughter. People looked at you like, you're a sellout. That was an actual term.
Right.
You a sellout. But now it's just like it's the end thing.
Way of life. right.
Yeah, let's get that first section right there. So again, this book is called "They Were Her Property." Is that right?
They were her property.
They were her property. This is a book focused on the role of the oppressor's daughter, right, in slavery, and you will see correlations to today if you're intuitive, if you're understanding it enough. Go ahead.
Go. Scholars who examine the authority that women held over their slaves.
You got the mic?
Go. Slaves frequently focus on the women.
What is it?
It's like Obligatorry.
Say it again.
Obligatorry.
Obligatory.
Obligatory, rather than voluntary or self-initiative. Management and discipline of enslaved people. They argued that women could not be true masters of slaves. Rather, they were fitted masters. Even when they possessed the skills and the gall to manage their slave, these historians argue they typically did not relish their power.
Right, so there's a misconception that these female slave owners, people, initially thought that they couldn't be, they couldn't manage the slaves, and they didn't appreciate the power that they got over slaves, and it was just like something that slaves, I don't want to be around that, right? As you get into this book, the book is going to dispel that as a myth. The book is going to show clearly that they not only appreciated the role, enjoyed the role, and looked forward to it. Like, who wouldn't want to have a slave? Right. You know what I mean? That you can just do what you want. You can do what you want with a slave. You want to have sex with a slave, you have sex with it. You want to cut off a body part, you cut off a body part. You want to work a slave to death, you can work a slave to death. Right. There was damn near no consequence to doing what you want to a slave. Right. That's why the book says they were her property. Keep going.
Go. And did not view their activities as slave mastery.
Mm-hmm.
As slave masteries, and neither did Southern laws and courts. This was especially true when it came to violent form of discipline.
Right, violent forms of discipline.
White women might punish enslaved people. They might even be brutal and sadistic, but they fell short of wielding a master's power. And these scholars argue that slave owning women acts of violence differed from those of slave owner men.
All right, was that it on that section?
Go.
All right, let me see that. Let me see it again, Bubba Chuck.
Go.
I'm gonna make sure this next section. That basically outlined that they didn't wield the same amount of power, but they were violent and brutal to slaves as well.
Right.
I might just hold this for a minute, and then I'll give it back when we get to a larger section. It says the economic historian Swevin Becker has argued that slavery was a key part of American capitalism, and that slave plantations, not railroads, were in fact America's first big business. He goes on to say, Adam Smith, the preeminent 8th century economist, argued that a married woman's financial dependence upon her husband's bound her to be faithful and constant to her spouse. The sidebar. This is going to come a time where women, women, you're not going to have the authority to be, you're not going to be given authority over a man because that's what the scriptures say. I know sisters like to be strong and independent. Well, you're still going to be strong, but you're not going to be independent in the sense that, you're going to rule over your husband. Will you still be able to have businesses and make money? Yes, but you're not going to be in businesses where you rule over men and just, again, this is not all women. Some women are very humble in what they do. Some women are very, upright and treat men kindly. And then you have other women because of position of power. Something as simple as housing, right? You go down to the housing office and you want to get housing, and some black woman is in there just giving you hell, making your life hell when you trying to get free housing or something of that sense. Like there's certain roles that you won't be given, like correctional officers, right? A woman won't be a correctional officer over a man. It's whatever it is the Lord's kingdom is going to be a lot different from this kingdom. It'll be a time, right? Like this is saying, this economist, he said, a married woman's financial dependence upon her husband bound her to be faithful and constant to her spouse. There's going to be the law, which is going to have you faithful and constant to your husband. Right. That was just a sidebar. All right, that's another part. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. All right, slave-owning women may not have referred to their management of slave people as slave mastery, but they use the same strategies and techniques that male planters described in the management of Negroes. Columns that appeared in pages of agricultural periodicals throughout the South, when we listen to what enslaved people had to say about white women and slave mastery, we find that they articulated quite clearly their belief that slave-owning women govern their slaves in the same ways that white men did. Sometimes they were more effective at slave management, or they used more brutal methods of discipline than their husbands did. Right? So while you're sitting there in love with your oppressor's slave, with the oppressor's daughter, right? You got to keep in mind, you look at it like there's a separation between the two. There's no separation between the male slave owner and the female slave owner. They both oppress you. Same way that they do today. Right? You look at the uprising, the Karens. You know what I mean? You look at the uprising, the Karens, and it's like they're showing you their true colors too. They're showing you who they are as a not only as a Edomite, but as a female Edomite, right? And you think you just gonna keep cherry picking the ones that want to sleep with you and they not be racist towards you? Right? It's gonna happen, right? You're gonna be put in positions where you're compromised because you decided to be with one of those oppressors' daughters, when you should just be with a sister and fix your sister, right? And raise a family with your sister and grow financially strong with your sister. All right, we're gonna get this next little session. All right, and this is kind of getting into more of the history behind it. It says, a mistress in the making. Lizzie Ann Burwell was like many other white girls growing up in slaveholding household in Linesville, North Carolina area in 1847. She loved flowers and often strolled to her parents' garden with Fanny, the enslaved woman charged with her care. After spending so much time with Fanny, Lizzie Ann developed an intense bond with her. But one day, Lizzie Ann became vexed with Fanny, so she went to her father and demanded that he cut Fanny's ear off. And get her, Lizzie Ann, a new maid from Clarksville. Lizzie Ann was 3 years old. Lizzie Ann was 3, and she'd go tell her dad to cut your ear off, and your ear was cut off. Like this the women that you sleep with now descend from Lizzie Ann. You understand? The women that you sleep with now, the one that you think is because of the article we read earlier, the Eurocentric beauty standards, they descend from this. It's not a new people. This is, I know they tell you that they're pious and great and, they don't see color. It don't matter. This is who they descend from. And you only think they're gorgeous is because the world tells you they're gorgeous. It's a new world now. Right. This is the world of Israel, man. This is the world of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The Isupk is going to let you know what you should be loving. Right? You should be loving your women. You shouldn't be loving descendants of Lizzie Ann. You just cut your foremother's ear off because she offended her and she was 3. You get what I'm saying? Right. I gotta get a scripture real quick. Was it 1 Kings 11:2? The slavery beating you down, Kwame? You tired? You acting like you tired.
Right. No, it's like
You got it? 1 Kings 11:2.
Come, sir.
What is that?
It's like 1 Kings 11:2, of the nation concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the scripture one?
Yep.
Come. 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 2. Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you.
Right. That should be, again, we've established this now with several scriptures. If you with an oppressor's daughter, or if you're a sister with a heathen man, with an oppressor, like that is nasty. You understand? That's definitely nasty. I don't even see how you do it. But that's a sin against the Lord too. All y'all, who envy Candace Owens because she got an oppressor and she has a voice amongst, the oppressors, and she talks down on black men and black people and tries to act like she's, some super conservative that really cares so much about America. Like, she's a bad witch and disgusting and vile. And furthermore, you shouldn't look at her in a kind of light where she's doing something right when really she sinned against the Most High with that.
Right.
And every day is a reminder that she, disobeyed the Lord, being with that heathen, and she's turned her back on her people. Any more? Go ahead.
Not for surely they will turn away your hearts.
That's what happens. Listen, look at those all these star athletes that go and get an oppressor's daughter. Somebody who descends from Lizzie Ann Burwell, who cut off their foremother, had her dad cut off her slave's ear because he made her upset.
Right.
That's who these oppressors' daughters, they descend from, women like them. Women who were just as cruel as the slave men, as the oppressors, right, who were slave masters. They're just as cruel, Kwame.
Right.
They said that their tactics were more brutal. And furthermore, the Bible said what? Read that part again.
For surely they will turn away your heart.
And if you one of those athletes, that's the first thing you do.
Right.
You go leave. You forget about all the sisters that came up with you while you was in college and y'all was together and y'all was gonna be together. You forget about her. You go get you an oppressor's daughter.
Right.
And guess what she does? She turns you away from your people. Then you like Charles Barkley. You're just like Charles Barkley. You got some she-devil in the bed with you. And Charles Barkley don't give a damn. Or he take any opportunity anytime he opens his big stupid mouth, I'm like, this cat he's been separated from his people. He's no longer connected to us like to Israel. He's connected to Esau now. He doesn't give a damn about the struggle of black people. He always has something stupid to say. And like, well, black people ain't oppressed. Well, I just did this. Well, that's great for you, Charles. What about everybody who can't, gorilla dunk from the free throw line. Go ahead.
Salaki, sir. I used to think Charles Barkley was an oppressor because he made the shoes in the jail cells. You know what I'm saying?
Because he did what?
He makes the shoes. He made the shoes for jail. The jail.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Charles Barkley. He makes shoes for the jail.
He makes shoes for jail?
The shoes that you wear in jail, Adawan, he makes those.
Get out of here. He owns a company that makes jail shoes?
Yeah, what kind of like Charles Barkley, Adawan. That's why I used to think it was oppressor, Adawan.
God damn. That explains it right there.
God.
He wants you niggas to go to jail so he can sell more shoes. It all makes sense.
God.
It all makes sense now. Charles Barkley wants you to go to jail. So that got to be a different Charles Barkley.
Nah.
That's got to be a different Charles Barkley. You're going to have to look that one up for me, man.
Oh, God.
Because if that's true, it makes perfect sense to me now why he doesn't give a damn about black people. He's trying to get on Michael Jordan level. He messing around going to exceed Michael Jordan because more niggas get locked up, the more we're going to need shoes, boy. That's crazy. I hope the operator's not true. While you looking that up, let me get 2nd Esdras 6 and 9. 2nd Esdras chapter 6, verse 9. It's this whole world, right? The article that we read earlier about Eurocentric beauty, thinking that your oppressor's daughter is so pious when we were her property too, right? The whole point of this, is that all this is coming to an end. Right? All this is coming to an end. The loving your oppressor. The Most High is going to force us to love one another. You trying to show love to an oppressor and trying to come together with an oppressor. That's going to stop. The scriptures outline it, man. You trying to love them is going to become too difficult. The burden is going to be too heavy to bear. You're going to have to love your people. You got that? Go ahead.
2nd Esdras chapter 6, verse 9.
Uh-huh.
For Esau is the end of the world.
What does that mean? When Esau is the end of the world. You want to give it a shot?
Come on. The end of the world is, that's him on top. Him, no more rulership for the oppressor. You know what I'm saying? Like his kingdom.
Right. Give me a breakdown of the world too.
And the world, world means like, just like you got the sea world, you got the animals world.
Mm-hmm.
This is his world right now. He's on top.
This is his age or society.
Right.
Which is the definition of world. This is his age. It's the age now of Esau. It's the age of, their women being on top and being the standard for beauty. You get what I'm saying?
Good.
Right now, if you look at it, the oppressor's daughter is the standard of beauty. Of course, we know in the Isupk they are not the standard. We know that there's nobody better than the Israelite system. We already know that. But according to their society, their woman is the standard. And, when we're in charge, our woman is going to be the standard. So I can't fault them for, making their woman the standard. They say, this is my woman and she's the baddest thing in this age or society, in the world.
Right.
Guess what? Right. When Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are in charge, guess which woman is going to be the standard of beauty? An Israelite woman. She's going to be the standard. Right. So, I ain't mad at them for saying that they, pancake that she got back there. I ain't mad at them for saying that's the standard. That's their woman. That's what they're supposed to do. But the Bible says, when, like you was breaking down, Paul, when they're in charge, when they're in rulership, right? This age, right? Esau being in charge, that's the end. We're at the end. Now that they're in charge, and I know some of y'all saying like, man, well, when the end ain't here fast enough.
Right.
The Lord is just waiting on you so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to get your act together. To stop smoking weed, to stop eating pork, stop aborting your baby, stop celebrating Christmas, stop being a Christian, and what is he waiting for? Waiting for you to stop dating interracially. He's ready for you to get your woman. He doesn't want you to have the oppressor's woman. He's waiting for that. He's waiting for the time where Black, Hispanic, and Native American men are going to get with Black, Hispanic, and Native American women, and that's it, and nobody else.
Right.
This is the end of the world. Go ahead.
Salaki, I mixed it up. It was Bob Barker.
Okay.
It's an oppressor. I was about to say I don't
Yeah. You way off. I'm like,
Salaki.
that would have made more sense to me. Like, because I'm like, no wonder he hates black people so much. I'm like, damn, he wants you niggas to go to jail so he can sell shoes. You messed me up with that one, Brian. It's all good. He still don't get a pass though, because he talks slick to black people, and I don't like it. Go ahead.
Go.
He said Bob Barker. That don't sound nothing like Charles Barkley.
Salaki, it's been so long that I went over some years.
We're gonna send you back for messing out. Go ahead.
Go. And Jacob is the beginning of it. That's following.
Man, that's what's following. It's gonna come a time where Black, Hispanic, and Native American women are going to be the standard for beauty. Just like Esau, his world, his age of society, he's saying that his woman is the most beautiful thing. Well, guess what? When we're in charge, our woman is gonna be the most beautiful thing. It ain't gonna be no Cardi B.
Right.
Ain't gonna be no Meg Thee Stallion. Ain't gonna be City Girls or none of this nonsense where, Lizzo, where your whole ass crack is showing on TV and your breast is, coming up to your chin. All our women are gonna be beautiful. And all these heathen men is gonna want an Israelite woman because he's not gonna be able to tell. He's gonna be able to tell how beautiful she is from the face, but she's not gonna be able to see, everything that's under there. Like now, a lot of these women, there's nothing to be imagined. There's nothing left to the imagination. You can see everything. You got it all out on Facebook. Your shorts barely covers your private parts, and your breast. Everybody see everything on the breast except the nipple. Everything is exposed, and that's not how we're supposed to be as a nation. Our women are supposed to be dressed in a humble attire. Right. But Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. Our time is coming, Israel. Our time is coming, and we can speed it along. We can entreat to the Most High through our actions. We can say, you know what, man, we were her property. She's evil. She was more brutal than a slave master. I'm not going to date an oppressor's daughter. She had her hand in slavery too. She had a hand in my destruction then. She has a hand in my destruction now. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that the oppressor is the only one denying you home loans and denying you health care, denying you this and denying you that. That she that was doing the same thing. She's right alongside of them.
Right.
You trying to pick through and find the ones that look cute and take them. They all oppressors, man. They all devils. They're all the devil that the Bible speaks of. All of them.
Right.
Whether she has a nice rack or, a sister butt, it don't matter. None of that matters. What matters is serving the Lord. Go ahead, Paul.
They still shooting her down in the street.
Still.
She that oppressor that shot that brother in Texas. Mm-hmm. And they locking us up, the prosecutor, and the judges.
The judges, yeah.
Everything out there.
Yeah, listen. They even doing the DNA evidence. They doing that CSI type work in there, and
right.
they ain't finding you innocent either.
Forensic.
Forensics. They all that, man, and you still hide them. You hold them in such high regard. That's fine. Me and my brothers, we know the history. We know that they were just as brutal as the men.
Right. We
know that these Eurocentric standards of beauty has come from their society. And because they're in charge, we eat it and swallow it up and think it's the greatest thing. When really, man, your woman, the Black, Hispanic, and Native American woman, is the most gorgeous thing on the face of the earth right now.
Right.
So, any questions?
Live, sir.
No questions? All right. Well, that was it. That's all I had. So, with that, I'm going to pass the class to Preaching Officer Kwame Park.
Isupk security announcements. We're the Isupk. Started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limit for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to save themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 through 21. Malachi 3 and 8 through 10. It means 10th in Hebrew. Maestro, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. Free offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocation. We got the Feast of Purim. It's February, Monday 14th, and February, Tuesday the 15th. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, scarf. And with that, a majum, which means to rise. With Pangwa Hakwadam, means turn the face to east. The Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawu, Shabbat Shemayim, Kudash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Taba'ah, Ratazayaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratazai, Kawah, Hayah, Mashemayim, Nathan, Lenawu, Lekam, Ka, Yawam, Wasalakanawu, Kawafinawu, Kasalakanawu, Kawafinawu, Wala'a, Tabayanawu, Bonasawam, Abba, Awashayanawu, Mayan, Rad, Kaya, Lekab, Amalaku, Wala'alu, Walapar, Lawalayim, Aman.
In English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it. Hakat, the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushua. Baba Kashah. Lathamanawa. Hakat. La Rapa'ah. Ka Makalah. Ukar Madawa. Hakat. That's the heart. Amatazarayim. Hakat. Lahatiyah. Hamatiyah. Hakat. Avakawat. Hatamalu. Lagarsham. Ba'ashem Yahusha. Throughout our month. In the English, Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua. Please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it.
Blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh. Wa Yahushua. Wam Yaka'ala. Wa Lahayim. Matazah Ba'ab. Alawat Yahana. Ha Alawatiyim. Ha Zarayim. Ha Kotasayanyim. Ha Kayayanyim.
It's like
Ha Kayayanyim. Wahakwatiyim. Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahusha. Throughout our month.
In the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
And
Yahushua. And
Michael.
And
the angels.
Commanding General
Yohana.
The
generals.
The
captains.
The officers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you. So be it. The anointing prayer in the Hebrew. Yabaraka Yahweh. Wa Shamaraka. Ya Yahweh. Pinyawa.
Pinyawa.
Ayuk.
Ayuk.
Wayakanku.
Wakanku.
Isha.
Isha'ah.
Yawu.
Yahweh.
Pinyawa.
Pinyawa.
Ayuk.
Ayuk.
Wayasham.
Washam.
Lakat.
Lakat.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yawu.
Yahweh.
Bashim Yahusha.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Barak.
Barak.
Mapak.
Rapak.
Magun.
Gun.
Magun.
Gun. The Wright family.
The Wright family.
The Jones family.
The Jones family.
The Jordan family.
The Jordan family.
The Huey family.
The Huey family.
The Echoes family.
The Echo family.
The Blakely family.
The Blakely family.
All destroyed Israel.
All short of Israel.
Yeah.
The Hall family.
The Hall family.
The Tucker family.
The Tucker family.
The Hicks family.
The Hicks family.
The Morgan family.
The Morgan family.
Claiborne family.
The Claiborne family.
And all the sort of Israel.
All destroyed Israel.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahusha.
Yahushua.
Through all our money.
Through all our money. In English. Yahweh bless thee and keep thee.
Yahweh bless thee and keep thee.
Yahweh make his face shine upon thee.
Yahweh make his face shine upon thee.
And be gracious unto thee.
And be gracious unto thee.
Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee.
Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee.
And give thee peace.
And give thee peace.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Bless.
Bless.
Heal.
Heal.
Shield.
Shield.
Protect.
Protect.
I should get curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heathen that speak against us.
To the heathen that speak against us.
Thy prophets.
Thy prophets.
The teachers.
The teachers.
The princes.
The princes.
The priests.
The priests.
The Israelite brothers and the school.
The Israelite brothers and the schools.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
And shake loose the treasure.
And shake loose the treasure.
Of the rich of Israel.
Of the rich of Israel.
That refuse to give to the school.
That refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches.
Force their riches.
To enter into thy sanctuary.
To enter thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the Edomites.
To the Edomites.
And the nations.
And their nations.
And their drug dealers.
And their drug dealers.
The court system.
The court system.
The prison system.
The prison system.
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood.
All the governments of our enemies.
All the governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church.
The Pope.
The Pope.
Islam.
Islam.
Christianity.
Christianity.
Egyptology.
Egyptology.
Militia. Ku Klux Klan.
Ku Klux Klan.
Aryan Nation.
Aryan Nation.
Skinheads.
Skinheads.
Posse Comitatus.
Posse Comitatus.
The gay movement.
Gay
The
movement.
lesbian movement.
The lesbian movement.
Spies.
Spies.
Workers of witchcraft.
Workers of witchcraft.
That's the space program.
NASA space program.
Army.
Army.
Navy.
Navy.
Air Force.
Air Force.
Marines.
Marine.
Wall Street.
Wall Street.
Open up the internet.
Open up the internet.
And the airwaves.
And the airwaves.
The cable access channel.
Cable access channel.
And the radio
And
channel.
the radio channel.
Convict the spirit.
Convict the spirit
of any of thy people.
of any of thy people
That seek to stop
that
us.
seek to stop us.
And bring swift destruction to all the heathen.
And bring swift destruction to all the heathen
That stand in the way.
that stand in the way
Or try to stop us.
or try to stop us
From broadcasting your words.
from broadcasting your word
Throughout the planet Earth.
throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose all the plagues.
Let loose all the plagues.
Cause them to go to and fro.
Cause them to go to and fro
Through the earth and consume them.
through the earth and consume them.
Let the plague shake.
Let the plagues shake
The house of the thief and the murderer.
the house of the thief and the murderer.
Let Yahushua.
Let Yahushua,
Michael and Gabriel.
Michael and Gabriel
Come down with the flying saucers.
come down with the flying saucer
And punish all the heathens.
and punish all the heathen
That come up against us.
that come up against
As
us
we speak thy word.
as we speak thy word.
Cause it to be known by all.
Cause to be known by all.
That it is the angels that have done it.
It is the angels that have done it.
Cause it to be spread through the media.
Cause it to be spread through the media
Throughout the whole world.
throughout the whole world.
Cause them to shake at thy coming.
Cause it to shake us thy coming.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it. So, curse you to the teacher. Men of Israel, Mount Shabbat, Imagine, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah. Yes, Matai. So, curse you to the sister watching online. Men of Israel, Mount Shabbat, Imagine, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah. Yes, Matai. Class dismissed.